Chair, on behalf of the department, I'd like to welcome everyone to the February Fourier talks. And so in a minute I'm going to introduce John, but I'd just like to say on behalf of the department, we're very proud of the Norbert Wiener Center, of John also, and there's a lot of research that they carry out. In fact, the center also advises a large number of graduate students in the department. And there's this fabulous conference each year and these fabulous talks. And so we're very proud of them. And with that, I'll say, John.
Okay, thank you. So this is where you, whoops, there we go. So the price of admission is listening to me talk about the Norbert Wiener Center for just a couple of minutes, though. So we've been in existence. This is our 11th February Fourier talks, and we have been able to coerce some of the great harmonic analysts of the world to come here, and the talks have been invariably of a very, very high quality, and this year is no exception. So the Norbert Wiener Center for Harmonic Analysis and Applications. And when we started in 2004, or a couple of years before that, we decided we had a concept. And our concept was that we wanted to advance research in mathematical engineering in the 21st century, analogous to mathematical physics of the 20th century. For those of you in the sciences, and there'll be very little of that in the next few minutes that I'm going to say scientifically, but for those of you in the sciences, you know that if you're in the mathematics department, there's usually historically significant faculty involved in partial differential equations, numerical analysis, and these topics were inspired by mathematical physics, and that's what I mean when I'm talking about analogous to mathematical physics of the 20th century, because in the end of the 20th century, what all of us experienced, well, some of you aren't old enough to have experienced it, but what some of us of a certain age experienced was that there was something emerging that I call the golden age of engineering. Image processing emerged, speech processing emerged, the beginnings of big data, machine learning were emerging, and it occurred to us that we should have built in place a mechanism in a mathematics department analogous to the mechanisms in mathematics departments that took the guise of PDE and numerical analysis. So that's our mission. What we've been involved with, well, this is not just a wish list, because we've been involved with a lot of these topics, but our main mathematical strength, I would say, is in wavelet and time frequency analysis and sampling theory and waveform design and machine learning and radar applications and biomathematics. But we touch on all of these things. Some of our faculty has done significant work in dimension reduction and hyperspectral and LiDAR data analysis. So that's our mission. It's focused but quite broad, and I believe very, very important for the ensuing future. Our structure is that we have an associate director who keeps the place running, and that's Matt Begay, and he's also a graduate student, and I try to hold these guys back as long as I can, but ultimately they insist upon graduating. And then we have a concept that we've had since the beginning. We have what we call scientific development offices, and I'm very, very fortunate in having three really outstanding applied mathematicians who do it for love. They don't do it for money, but they do it for love. Doctors Mike DeLomo, Jeff Saraki, and Alfredo Navatadala. Our faculty members beside myself are Professors Radu Balan, Wojtek Shaya, and Kaso Okuju. And we frequently have 2 to 4 postdocs, and right now we have Shumei Shen and Ben Manning. And they are very, very important, and I wish we had more. So, and as Scott alluded to, we are very fortunate in having a very large group and a very outstanding group of graduate students. Our advisory board we divide into 3 parts. Our academic advisory board are 4 of the most outstanding applied harmonic analysts in the country, namely Margaret Cheney, Rafi Koifman, Ingrid Dobashis, and Guido Weiss. And from government and industry, we have the aforementioned Mike DeLomo and Jeff Saraki, but also Drs. Greg Cox and Glenn Easley, whom you heard speak today, from MITRE, also Gary Jason from MITRE, Harry Schmidt, and Francis Sullivan. And at the University of Maryland, one of our strongest supporters ever was former Chair Mike Fitzpatrick, and there's Steve Tretter and Constantina Trevisa, and Scott Walper has also been a great support. So we think of ourselves as having 3 thrusts of excellence. State-of-the-art research in those topics I mentioned in the mission, leading-edge education, and as an international center. I'll speak mostly about the research. So state-of-the-art research. We want to do theoretical and applicable harmonic analysis. So that's, the theoretical is sort of clear: harmonic analysis, proof theorems, wavelet theory, time frequency analysis, etc. But what I found in my own lifetime is that harmonic analysis just permeates almost every application that I know about, and that's not just hype on my part. And we want to get involved to the extent we can and to the extent we can learn with these applications. And that goes hand in hand with supporting technologies of the 21st century. So we've been fortunate enough to have received support from these organizations through the years. And one might wonder when one sees State Street Bank, but before the housing bust, we were doing very well with them. And we take no responsibility in the housing bust. So it's and one of the things we've been very fortunate with is targeted work groups and internships. And in recent years, our graduate students have gone on to internships at NSA and NRL and other outstanding places which are kind enough and wise enough to choose graduate students of such power. I'm just going to briefly describe a couple of things that we do to show you that there are genuine, serious applications that use genuine, serious mathematics. In fact, today, when Professor Roy talked, I thought that was spectacular, because he's an experimentalist. And he talked about very down-to-earth experiments, and what you saw is these tables he makes with wires and lasers, and behind it all, he was talking about structure of groups, representation of groups. And so the interaction is just there for all of us, and I think almost everyone in this room probably agrees, so I'm probably talking to the converted. But anyhow, one of the things we are involved with is waveform design. We got involved with this because of radar and communications grants. But what we found, which was so exciting, its relationships not only to classical harmonic analysis, but also to number theory, representations of finite groups, and the theory of frames is all over the place, because we are always trying to reduce noise or push it to a corner and whatever. And then there's dimension reduction. We've heard several talks already today, and we'll hear more about hyperspectral imagery and the reasons for having hyperspectral imagery and LiDAR. And I believe we are a small but excellent center in dimension reduction, where we use ideas such as frame potential energy, always harmonic analysis, but perhaps more surprisingly, we really get involved into the geometry of manifolds, plus all the wavelet theory that goes on with it. And besides the hyperspectral imagery, we've been very fortunate enough to be doing very serious work on retinal imaging at NIH. We've also been involved with geospatial terrain and image processing, and this has been mostly done vis-a-vis the oh, it's not vis-a-vis, but with regard to NGA. And here you see mathematics, wavelet theory is all over the place, but serious scientific computation where some of our folks have made superb progress on optimization problems, which are very, very difficult in general. And this is some of my colleagues are particularly interested in the cocktail party problem, also called blind source separation. And you don't have to have cocktails at a cocktail party problem, but what you do is you have lots of noise and you want to get real information in a noisy environment. This is obviously very, very important in security and listening devices and hearing aids, video conferencing. And I'd say we have world expertise in this. I say that because I'm not one of the experts, but some of my colleagues are of foremost stature in this. Data fusion, in my opinion, is one of the major problems that has to be addressed in the near future, because there's so much data out there. You get a different slant on different types of data, and fusing it is not just a matter of getting some Scotch tape and sticking it together. It's very difficult. And there, the applications are pretty clear with sensors and homeland security and parallel processing and network communication. But here the mathematics is equally exciting. There's, again, this frame potential energy idea which sort of recurs, and it's an idea that originated here. And it has tremendous, its tentacles reach all over the place. But it also goes into, for those of you who are in pure mathematics, the Cadison-Singer conjecture, now a theorem, in C-star algebras. So the relationships between abstract mathematics, serious mathematical applications, and the like, it's the way we think. And it's the way we think because it's the way it is. So that's the longest part of my talk, but let me say a couple of words about educational system here. Basically, for undergraduates, we have Daniel Sweet undergraduate fellowships. Daniel Sweet was one of our professors who died much too young, and he was also a great teacher and a close friend. We have research interaction teams, which I think began with some of the ideas that some of us had many years ago, and then morphed into very nice NSF grants for the department. We have lots of student conference participation and the like, and we really do teach state-of-the-art courses in not only harmonic analysis, but every type of application that seems to be important in this day and age related to harmonic analysis. And as an international center, I encourage you all, and so this is going to take 30 seconds, while we have this conference, but we also pride ourselves in our collaborations and our repositories on our website. The crowds is for our waveform design. And our website is actually, I'd say, not a typical website. It's really a font of knowledge for the community, not only here in Maryland or here in the United States, but worldwide. And we're coupled with two major publications, which we began. The Applied and Numerical Harmonic Analysis book series, which is a Springer-Berkhäuser book series, and which is represented here. The Springer-Berkhäuser folks are here displaying some of our books in our series. And the Journal of Fourier Analysis and Applications. And we're now just beginning another book series, a lecture note book series modeled after the Springer lecture notes of years ago. So I know everyone's busy, but if you have a spare moment when the kids are screaming or you've run out of scotch or whatever, check our website. It's really quite exciting. This is my hero. I chose him because he's even uglier than I am. And he was a great, great genius who did the exact things that we aspired to in the Norbert Wiener Center. Namely, he was a pure mathematician of the first rank, and he was made significant worldwide contributions to applied mathematics. And with that, I stop. Where is he? This microphone should be chest length, I think.
All right.
And I'll let you put it on. This, of course, has a bell.